Kurobi Benu Metal, Mavinu Metal. We are His Imperial Majesty Ahosu Agelo Bagan Agbori I. We are the Ganlodo Ahosu, or the Ahosu King of the only maroon monarchy in the world, which is called Ganlodo. Our websites, where you can get our publications, restorationhealing.com, restorationhealing.com, and the name of the site is Quilombo Restoration and Healing, and our monarchy is gunlodokingdom.com. So we come to you as of a record of sorts, to let everyone know we recently got back on Facebook due to the fact that people were saying, you know, there are other people out there that don't know about Quilombo Restoration and Healing. They don't know about Gunlodo, but these are many of these people want to know. They want to know about the publications and the like. So we finally agreed, and this was only 2 weeks ago that we got back on Facebook. As of December 31st, we found out we could not post any of our links. Our links come up as inappropriate behavior, links that violate community guidelines. Now, for y'all watching this that don't quite get it, we have, since day one, when we came into the culture, before being a priest or getting any ikoko or so-called part of the deity or whatnot, we came in as a black nationalist. And many people met us. They knew that we had a lot of information, that they knew what we were talking about when it came to African spiritual traditions, and particularly Sheshe, the so-called Yoruba tradition. And they couldn't deny that. But many of them did not like the fact that we were for real black nationalists. What we mean by when we say that, a lot of people will contact different people, right? And they see this stuff on their website and written up, and they like, you know, a lot of these people aren't with some of that stuff that they're saying. They're like, but we'll contact them anyway because we need to get knowledge. But people found out when they contacted us that we were for real. A lot of those other people they would contact, that was just up there for show, right? So they found out we really had a non-African policy. That we use the word Oyimbo, and that's Yoruba, and Yovo, that's phone, for all non-Africans. You know, we say that our doors are closed to all non-Africans. We are not hearing anything about Puerto Rican got some African. There are white Puerto Ricans, and there are Puerto Ricans that are African. Then there are Puerto Ricans that are mixed. Plain and simple. Then there are some that have a lot of mixture in there. The same with the Cuban people from Cuba and whatnot. We don't trust the mulatto. So you won't see anybody in our ranks that looks suspicious, that you can't tell what their race is. When you look at our people, you're going to see that these are African people. New Africans in particular. Those are Africans over here that descend from those that were sold into captivity by the sellout clowns that we're talking about right now. Now, they were sold from Mawufe, from Africa. But many of these people have reincarnated in these people that do all of this crazy degenerate stuff in African tradition and just in our community in general. You know, a lot of people don't understand that concept. A lot of these people that are creating the most violent atmospheres in our communities, the ones that sell out and run to Facebook and tell people that our sites are abusive because they're racist. This is what they did to us recently. This is why we can't post. Many of these people are reincarnated slave traders. Reincarnated Yovo-Gan. Yovo-Gan in the Dahomey tradition, when Dahomey was running southern Benin to an extent, the Yovo-Gan was created by the king Agaja, right? And he was, as you tell by his name, it doesn't say chief of the whites. Yovo-Gan doesn't mean that. It means the one that's the chief of dealing with the whites, meaning the slave trade activity, the one that made the negotiations back and forth for 2-3 months sometime. to get those captive Africans on those junta, those boats, the Portuguese call them pirogue, P-I-R-O-G-U-E. G-U-E, yes, O-G-U-E. They're boats that are about sometimes 60 feet long, sometimes 40 feet long, and they pack as many Africans in them to take out to the ship because the ship could not dock but so close to the ports of like not Tofa, but what is end up being called Ouida and other places like that, Porto Novo, which was also called Hogbonu originally. These people that participated willingly with the Yovo, many of them are reincarnations. So we have been banned from posting our links, and our links, Quilombo Restoration and Healing, which is restorationhealing.com, and Gunlodo Monarchy, which is gunlodokingdom.com, they're strictly about not only resurrecting the African soul within you, but maintaining that and using it towards family development, nation building, and supreme sovereignty at some point where when we could get ourselves together enough to get that sovereignty, you know? So our philosophy is very Garveyite, an advancement upon the Garveyite ideology, if you will. Nobody should get upset when we say advancement, because Garvey came behind other people and advanced on their ideology. We've come behind, and his name is truly actually Nana Kwaku as a national ancestor for us. We really don't call him Garvey, but we're saying that because that's what people out there know him by. So some people still may be confused as to why. Why would other Africans do this to other Africans? Why would other Africans report to Facebook lies or whatever truth they may have told? Because you could go to the website and see. So they might have, more than likely, they saw, and they know our history. They know our tradition. They know that, and we would say us, they know that we are totally not with dissexuality in the tradition, homosexuality, or in our community in general. That's why we stand with movements like Straight Black Pride. We're not a part of that, but we stand with them in support. So somebody asked the other day, why would they do that? And you have to ask the same question. Why would one African sell another African into captivity, in particular when it was taboo? Because people try to say, well, they sold their war captives. That is not how that's done. They didn't even do that in Rome. When they put a war captive in slavery in Rome, they sold to another Roman. That was Roman property at that time. And the similar way in West African culture, but it was always taboo. It was like law you do not sell your captive. That captive usually is a servant of the king or queen in some kind of way, the royal court, the royal institution, or on a lower level, maybe one of the nobles, the African nobles or chiefs, and many of the chiefs were nobles. But it was absolutely Sioux and Fon, Ewa, and Yoruba taboo to sell your captives, especially to a people that were not in any way related to your land, which is the Yovo, that came from Europe. So they knew what they were doing. They knew they were violating taboos. Now, we said that to say, just like they did that, you have house Negroes, house niggas today that do stuff that sell you out. Don't be surprised that it was Negroes from the East Sheshe community in particular. See, we got an oracle that speaks to us strong. We're not going to say any names right now, but because we got to let the deities deal with you. And the deities say, don't say no names. We got them. We're about to deal with them, right? But just like they did that then, just like they do stuff on jobs today, black folks sell out black folks for the white folk. Ice Cube said black police showing out for the white cop on F the Police song. Come on, don't be surprised. Don't be surprised. And don't underestimate our work. Go to our website, see those articles and videos, and you will see why the Negro doesn't like what we do. You know, outside of that, a lot of what we do exposes the Negroes and the Isheshe, so-called Ifa or Orisha tradition. We wrote an article years ago. We didn't think we were stepping in on anybody's toes. We found out as we got more fluent in Yoruba that the word Alafia. Everybody hears that word, right? Alafia, brother, Alafia, sister. And they saying it fake anyway. But they're misusing it. But we digress. We wrote the article, Alafia is not an African word, nor is it a greeting. And it was another part of the title. And you can see that on restorationhealing.com also. So from our perspective, we were simply educating people. Educating people. But no. When you have the Negro, the Black American Negro, is an interesting thing. We haven't figured it out yet. The Black American, and we're talking about people dressed up in these dashikis and this ashake and these silk lace outfits of the Yoruba people and wearing clothing from Dahomey and from the Asante and the Fante amongst the Akan. You know, these are Black Americans. Just because they dressing up in a different suit does not mean that they don't have that same mentality that they had on or that they have when they wear that bow tie and that other suit that they wear when you don't see them. That's really what's happening. When you see them, they're Baba this and Nana that and Ia this and Awo this and that. But through the week, their parents, their children, even their wives, or husbands, vice versa, are not calling them by those African names. You know, sign one of them, have one of them come do a workshop for you or something, anything, a little lecture or something, whatever they do. And watch what you have to put their name, their paycheck, their money order, whatever you give them. Watch what name you have to put there. 9 times out of 10 is going to be a European name. So quit playing. We know who you are. We figured that, you know, you people in the Isheshe tradition, it's not just Isheshe people, by the way, but those are the main culprits. But we figured that you guys would be tired of being cowards. All of these years, we've been knowing you've been cowards since, you know, at least 11 years, 12 years. 12, yeah, I think we wrote Alafia is not an African word in the European year of 2006. Because we figured you'd be tired because it takes we would think it would take a lot of energy to be a coward because of all the extra stuff you have to do. You have to actually go into Facebook and click on this and click on that and say this is hate speech on his website. And Facebook, y'all are so dumb. You couldn't have did no follow-up, because if you'd have went through there, you wouldn't have saw that hate speech that y'all allow these crackers to continue on your page and posting links on your site rather. You wouldn't have saw none of that, because our posts, our articles and videos, our books on restorationhealing.com, GonlodoKingdom.com, is about our culture. So we in passing, we may talk about the Yovo mentality and breaking the Yovo mentality and recognizing the Yovo as your eternal enemy, because that's just the truth. But we've never said on there, go attack the Yovo. Go attack the Oyimbo. Our biggest problem, because look at the reason we had to make this video, is the internal enemy. Folks that look like you and I, that's faking like you and I, wearing beads around their neck. You see them in the store, especially when you go to places like DC, Atlanta, Houston, LA, Oakland. You know, they're wearing the beads and you thinking, you know, we on the same page, and they hit you with that same thing. Alafia. That's Alafia in the front and a Ada in the back. Ada means sword in Yoruba. Now, for you people in the Sheshe tradition that don't speak the language, and you don't care anything about learning the language, and you run around here telling people that, it's cool to pray to the deities in any language you want to. So that one was for free for you. So Ada is sword, So that's for free for y'all. So y'all can use that maybe to impress somebody that don't know any better or something. So we wanted to just tell you all what's going on. When you don't see the links post, or you see Gunlodo Kingdom the word .com, Restoration Healing, the word .com, it's because the Negroes have contacted their masters at Facebook. We're even wondering if some of these Negroes work at Facebook, because nobody can post our site. Try to do it yourself, and it's going to tell you inappropriate contact. Try to send it in a inbox, then it's going to really tell you what the deal is, because it comes up abusive content. It comes up different, one way in the inbox and another way in the on the page. But the inbox, we feel, tells you more of a truth, what's really been said. Forgive me. The Negroes have done this. Now, people that don't have the oracle, people that don't know culture, when we first told them this, they automatically wanted to go and blame the Oyimbo. Meaning, they wanted to say that the Oyimbos at Facebook. Now, we're only on Facebook 2 weeks now. They were trolling the page, and they saw the content, and they the ones flagged it. But you got all kinds of other black organizations, people on Facebook with rifles in their hand, right? White and black. Those pictures are not taken down. They're not flagged. We just saw some earlier today. No, the Oyimbo did not do this. And so the reason why we said people that don't have culture automatically go to the Oyimbo, because people that don't have culture and people that are not Maroons or real nationalists, they automatically want to blame the external for everything. So like even something wrong with themselves, it had to come from the outside. That's European thinking. It's funny because they want to be so RBG, so black. That's European thinking, because in European psychology, they say what? You have to be objective. Object means something, you're an object. You're not inner, right? So that's how a lot of black folks that claim to be so hard against the Yovo and RBG are, because they automatically said, hey, Kabiesi, referring to us, that's how you refer to a king in Yoruba, and amongst the phone people have adopted some of the ways of the Yoruba also. So many of them say Kabiesi. So Kabiesi, you yeah, you know how the white folks are, blah. Well, no, they're just doing what their slaves in that Isheshe tradition, the cowards in the Isheshe tradition, the so-called Babalawos and Iyelorishas and Olarishas, they're just doing what they have been trained to do, what they trained them to do, rather. So they trained them to go and hunt down the runaway captive, the Maroon. That's what a Maroon is, for the most part. Then a lot of times they were not ever captives, but the runaway captive like ourselves. Hunt them down, come back and report to us so we can go destroy that Quilombo, that Maroon village. That's what they're doing. That is exactly what these clowns are doing. It's not really working, because what happened, this is the message directly to you clowns. The clown in New Jersey, we know who you are. We know you had something to do with this. What you did, you made people want to inquire more. Y'all ain't figured this out yet. This has been happening since 2005, 2006. You making people want to inquire more. Hit us up in the inbox. Hey, what are y'all doing? What's where y'all at? We don't give that information all right off the top, because we are Quilombo, we are Maroons. If these people are so bent, after I have checked out your site, Kabiesi, And I see what y'all doing. And I see the amazing works you do. And I ordered books from you before. Hey, tell me more. If they're trying to stop something like this, that is 100% about character, 100% about maroonage, 100% about nation building and family development, y'all must be onto something. Now, we were told back in the day by the Oracle to don't tell y'all that. You know, we talking about the clowns, the naysayers, the Negroes, the one that run to the whites, the ones that wrote the article on us some years ago. It was called Hate and Iwo. Hate and Iwo. Iwo is short for Babalawo, so to speak. Iwo means mystery. So Babalawos are short. Babalawos are called Iwo. And Nifa is also female priest of Ifa. So this Negro by the name of Eric Brown, what's his name? Eric Brown? Yeah, he calls himself OJ Lola Ifa Shekin, but his name is Eric Brown. That's what his cracker family, because one half of his family is cracker. That's what they call him, and that's what the government call him. And when he begs them, that's what they have to write their little penny checks to him in. He wrote an article called Hate and Iwo. And the article had a caption. We couldn't make this up. We wish we would have been into the screenshot saving back then. This was years ago. And the caption was a Ku Klux Klan meeting. The article was about me, an African man who preaches hate in African tradition. And the reason why we preach hate, they say, is because we have a no non-African policy. That's straight up. We never said anything about going out there doing anything to a non-African or anything. We're too busy nation building to be trying to pick out some non-Africans to go at. And if we're gonna go at somebody, I gotta get the internal enemy first. I gotta get the stuff that's in my community, the drugs and the somebody breaking into my house per se. What I'm gonna do? Leave the person breaking in my house who may probably look like me because he is of your kind, meaning that reincarnated captive traitor like yourself. We talking about these Sheshe people, the ones that done this. What I'm gonna do? Leave him there? I'm finna go get an Oyinbo just because? No. We make our statement on the Oyinbo. That's a fact. That's a fact according to the culture. They can't worship the deities because the deities are not in their blood. Real simple, keep it moving. We have been fighting against the Oyinbo for 6,000 years. Okay, that's another reason not to allow them in your tradition. That's like letting a robber in your house when you know that the person knocks on the door and says, hey, I'm a robber. Oh, come on in. And then you get mad when he robs you clean or she robs you clean. Come on. You deserve to be robbed. And that's what happening with you Negroes, you house Negroes, out there who are initiating these white folks and non-Africans and these degenerate black people. You're initiating degenerate black people just to have your numbers look a certain way. So needless to say, we've been fed up with you a long time. But what the deity said about y'all recently is we feel for you. Actually, we don't. We don't feel when we have the enemy attacking us like this, it's nothing we can feel for you. But hey, that's what you ended up getting. Eshu brought you what you're supposed to get. You know, Ajinaku brought you what you asked for. Hevioso burned down or tried to burn down your village. Shango tried to burn down your village or burnt a portion of it down again to try to get your attention. Stop doing non-African rituals with non-African people. Stop doing libations for people. You're supposed to be a king, so you say, but you're doing libations for people in that's getting inaugurated as a bishop in a church. But you attack your own when they became king. You attack one of your best friends when he said he was king or became king. However it happened, we're not saying he's not a king. We're not saying the best friend, the brother, is not a king. We're just telling the story. You know, said or actually is or whatever. You attacked him, wrote a whole article on him. So, and included us in the article. This was years ago also, you know. But you only made people want to know more about the work of Ganlodo. Who is this man that at the cost of losing friends and whatnot. Non-African policy is solid. The philosophy teaches. Who is this man? Let's see who they're talking about. You know, and that's what happened. So we want to put y'all on notice. We know who you are. We're not going to say any names. If you're watching this, you definitely know who you are. You definitely know who you are. You're really not stopping anything. Because what's interesting that is, you know, the people we're supposed to exchange information with, we're up until this point, we've already done it. So you're a little too late. Now, we're aware also of these people we had to remove from our page as Facebook so-called friends. They need to change that name. We're aware of you. We're aware that this happened right shortly after we removed you. After we had to get you straight about your degenerate behavior and your language, and your anti-African rhetoric, anti-protocol. So if you're anti-protocol, even though you're in African tradition, that means you're anti-African. So we're aware, we know who you are. You're on our radar also. In fact, we know that one of you has something to do with this too. But I guess sometimes that's the only way people like that can be significant. As, you know, and sad for them. But it's sadder for the community because our people they still have religious blinders on, right? And so they see these people, that's Bible such and such, that's such and such. And they can't, it'll take them 2-3 years to pick up something that's extremely negative, that we pick up on within 5 minutes of either talking to that person or looking over their profile or something like that. You know, degeneracy can't hide itself because its energy is so volatile. It's always trying to get out. So even when the Negroes in the Shay tradition, the ones that go to the strip clubs in Atlanta and they have their lekes on while they got the women stripping and dancing on them and stuff like that. This is a fact. Have we ever been in there and seen that? No, but they post pictures. We've screenshotted some pictures on Facebook. But we knew this back in the day in Atlanta because they actually said it. Once again, people will see you talk serious, but they're like, he can't be that serious. So that degeneracy trying to get out of them made them say out of their mouth to us, yeah, you know, down here, Queen City, all the Babalawos, you know, go, you should come down there with us. I'm not going to no strip club, man. What are you doing there? What are you doing there? What's in there that is about nation building? And don't give me that, oh, we got to get them sisters to culture too. That ain't what you in there doing. That ain't what you did. And if you were doing something like that, you would stand outside the club. You would do some Nation of Islam kind of stuff. You know, back in the day, Nation of Islam, not the Nation of Chrislam now, what it is now. You would stand outside. Wait on the sister, you know, there's another way. No, you go in the strip club, you spending money, you buying liquor. Come on. So our work has exposed these Negroes. Even when we were not trying to do that. We wrote an article, Fake Elders in African Tradition. We were not talking about anybody in particular. Back in, let's say, 2008, we believe. And certain people got offended. When we wrote Alafia is not an African word, people were like, once we proved to them, using Yoruba language and Arabic, because Alafia is an Arabic word, they went from that, where they went from it is an African word, to once they saw the proof, they would say stuff like, well, my elder used it, so I'm gonna keep using it. It must be right to keep using it. That ain't what you said a few days ago when you said, no, that's not correct. That is an African word. That is a Yoruba word. You know? So that messianic complex, be careful of that. Those with sincere heart, good character, watching this, really trying to learn about Vodun or really Shay. Now, we're not saying these Shay is messed up, but for some reason,